And we are live. We are live. Welcome, 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 everyone. So grateful and thankful to come to you again with another thought-provoking, inspiring, and insightful conversation. And this is a series we're going to be starting. This is the first day of the tea time, spilling the tea with Pshanda tea time on Tuesdays. It'll be the the second Tuesday of every month. And so Miss Pshanda Pugh of Pshanda Hills will be going live every Tuesday for a few minutes or so, 15, 30 minutes, to be able to support you with interesting topics and insights into mental health and your mental health. And so we would love your support with being able to get that Pshanda Hills page up to 100 people so we can go live directly from that page. And you can definitely follow. That spell wrong. Oh my God. Let me take that down. The correction of is Pshanda Hills on Facebook, and definitely follow her, and on TikTok, Instagram, and also LinkedIn. So it's Pshanda.Hills on TikTok. And so this day we are going to be, so let me go back. Let me go back and clarify something. So with our Pshanda Hills, for the Tea Time Tuesday, we're supporting you with being able, again, to gain insights and using, because what I love about Pshanda is that she definitely keeps it real, and she has the street wisdom too. She cute and all that, okay, but she can go there with you, so don't try it. So she has the street smarts, the wisdom, right? And as a
Mm-hmm.
therapist, that definitely she can see through a lot of stuff that some clients have. And in my line of work, with subconscious block clearing work, we have a section that when we're certifying students to learn this technology, and it's called stupid client tricks. So things we
Mm-hmm.
know that happen in a session that is that the persona or the ego is preventing that person from going to the next step and getting the clarity and the healing that they require. So things, they'll do quote unquote stupid things. We're not calling them stupid. I'm just saying they'll do quote unquote stupid things. And so we provide them with those things to look out for. So if your client, for example, a client may say in a session, and Prashanda, you may have experienced this too. They may say in a session, so with what I do, if they say, um, if something comes up and prevents them, quote unquote, prevents them from having the session, we know that that's another clue that's also preventing them from getting their healing, right? I can't
Mm-hmm.
think of the one specifically that's like client stupid trick, but I'll have that for you next time. It's not about me, it's about you. And so but I did wanted to acknowledge that, because again, that is something that we want to be able to talk about, um, with, as a therapist, when you know that this is a sign that the clients, whatever it's the persona, whatever it's the safety mechanism that's keeping
Mm-hmm.
them from getting the breakthrough that they need, right?
Yeah.
Those things do come up. And so we want to support you with being able to know that when you do that, we know that that's what that is. And so now we want you to
Mm-hmm.
know. And so when it comes up and you be like, oh, that's one of those stupid client tricks, right? Okay, so let's get that out the way and let's keep moving, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's really interesting. So for today, and I didn't introduce myself. I am Miss Felicia Muhammad, your spiritual life um, and business facilitator and shit shifter, self healing, inner talk, and loves being able to support people to know how to transform the limiting beliefs that keep them stuck in love, health, and wealth, and also chief bliss officer of the Oneness Wellness Lifestyles and Foundation, where we support you in being able to know how to activate the body's ability to self heal. And so today we have Miss Pshanda Pugh, and we are going to be talking about a couple of different topics, subjects rather, and current events to be able again to support you with being able to know how to navigate your life. So, Miss Pashanda, if you could do a introduction again of yourself, so that those who are new and or listening to the replay will be able to know that you are not new to this. You are definitely true to this.
Yeah. My name is Pshanda Pugh. I am a licensed professional counselor, nationally certified, and I'm licensed for the therapy part, North and South Carolina. I've been doing this work for 20 years or so now. So I've been in several different arenas when it comes to mental health and areas with education, working in foster care, group home services, in-home services, all over the place. And now, um, God has directed my mission and my path into this one-on-one space to be able to work with individuals who are looking to shift their stuff out of the way and open up and walk into, you know, what it is that is their power, and get their mental health stuff under control, and making this a safe place for people to be able to really address what's going on with them. So, as I tell most people when they reach out to me, the hardest part was reaching out to call.
Mm-hmm.
The therapy part is not going to be the same old, same old. It's not going to be the dry drab, you know. Um, well, what do you think about that? What do you feel about that? Questions, the stuff that if you were able to answer those questions, you wouldn't be calling me. So it's just a safe place for you to be able to come and reach out and get to understand yourself and understand what's going on with you. So that's who I am. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's the work that we're pushing on to with 2025.
Awesome, awesome. You're not trying, you doing it. Because like you say, you 20 years in, so it's a beautiful thing to be able to do what you love doing, and of course it was like you had said before, and go back and listen to some of Pashanda's other initial interviews where she's told you her story, and how
Hmm.
she would. So you definitely have someone here with you that is very skilled and has a heart for this, and again is purposeful. More importantly, she's purposeful. So so let's get right to it, Pashanda. So
Okay.
with everything that's happening, most recent we had the well, yeah, most recent we have, because it's still occurring, not had, have
Hmm.
fires that are happening in California. So I know last time during the holidays we talked a little bit about grief, and so as I was thinking about it this morning, I was like, well, the people that are experiencing this, it's because I have a direct friend,
Hmm.
mentor, who this is where she was raised. Her grandfather has a library that's being built dedicated to him, and in his honor. And her family, immediate family, brother, sister, her sister's home was spared, but one of her brother's homes was completely destroyed. And I was thinking, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
that's still like a form of grief. So
Yeah.
how can you talk to us a little bit about, spill some of the tea, give us some of the insights on how we can help our people that are experiencing this, for those that we know personally, and or just work if we don't know them.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that, in times of crisis, in times of, chaos, as we're experiencing now in California, one of the biggest things that you can do to help others, ironically, is just, in offering being available. I've been watching the news reports. I've been watching a lot of, of course, social media, and you have the celebrities talking about their losses and what's happening it. And a lot of times, a lot of people, even in times of chaos, run into incidences where people do not offer compassion.
Uh,
And because you are not a person who has experienced this thing directly, or you have an assumption about what someone else has or what someone should have done, you have people who are saying, well, there are people who, how do you understand, and how is this really impacting you? You have financial means, you have money, you have abilities to take care of things, so you don't understand the stresses that regular people would face. Um, no one knows what another individual is experiencing. No one really knows the insides about what's going on with someone directly. So the best thing that you can do in a time of crisis for anyone is just to be present, listen. If someone is upset, if someone is worried and bothered, be present for them. Don't let your own personal biases, your own personal thought processes, and your ideas become the thing that influence how you're gonna move and go. And just put yourself in a person's shoes of, if this was me in a crisis, what would I need from someone? What would
mm,
I want from someone? The last thing any of us want when we're going through a hard time is for somebody to sit in judgment and look at us like what we're talking about, and our feelings are not important, and what we're experiencing are not important. So that's the first thing, is just offering compassion. Second thing is getting in touch, researching and finding out, if you want to be of help financially, what things can you do financially? How do you go about making sure you're doing those things in the right way? Because of course, like with everything else, when there's times of chaos, scammers come out, and there's
mm,
always somebody trying to take advantage of people in situations for their own benefit, because they don't care. There is a way for them to come up. So be mindful and be aware. Make sure you're reaching out to trusted sources and organizations when you're going to donate funds, when you're going to donate items. Go through those things. Make sure the people that you're providing those things to, that they're individuals that are going to actually make sure, that are legitimate, that are going to make sure the assistance and help goes to those that are in need. Also, another thing that we can do is spread awareness, spread actual, for real, accurate information with social media, with the advent of technology, AI, and all these different things. You have people who are promoting and pushing inaccurate, false information. So before you share something, and
mm,
this is a thing that people, it's easy to see something and automatically think, oh, okay, I read it here, this, I'm going to share this is what they said. Especially if it's something really over the top or dramatic,
mm,
or it seems extreme, before you share it out, at least go back and try to find it and verify at least two other places
mm.
before you push it and share it, so that you don't have the advent of all this misinformation being pushed out, and now you look silly and you look stupid because you done said something, or you shared something that is completely false and wrong. And a lot of those things can cause more harm to the individuals that are being impacted than anything else.
Yeah.
um and just when we're dealing with folks who are dealing with loss, the loss of a home, having to pick up and move and doing those kind of things, all that is upsetting. It turns your life upside down. I've experienced a home fire, and having to, lose everything. And the realities is, are, if unfortunately, a lot of people do not have homeowners insurance. They do not have those coverages that, and or the ability to, now they're trying to find housing. They're
Mm,
trying to find ways to replace those clothes and the memories and all those things. So when you're going through stuff like that, it can lead to depression. It can lead to, in the immediate moment, a whole lot of confusion and upset. So the best thing that you can do for people is to make sure that you are um, just being helpful as possible, calm as possible, listening, providing empathy, and for the people who are experiencing these losses and everything, reach out and find the support systems. There are a whole lot of different sources now, especially, you know, I'm across the country. So there's little that I can do as far as being able to go out and volunteer, but I can volunteer time and services when you're able talking about mental health spaces where
Yeah.
there are programs that you could reach out to talk to someone, to reach out to get, professional assistance and somebody to listen to. So those are some of the things that we can do to support those individuals that are going through this crisis right now.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I heard Eric Benet. He was on TikTok and he was saying how some spammers have, he was warning his crowd, his followers
Mm-hmm.
to be aware. He was like, I'm not in your inbox asking you for any money.
Mm-hmm.
No, he said, so just be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that does happen a lot. Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And even as you were saying about even what you can offer cross country,
Mm-hmm.
um, I immediately thought about, the now that we can do healing, sessions remotely, that hotline. I thought about a hotline,
Mm-hmm.
a therapist hotline.
Yeah.
Being able to call and, get some support, for your mental health in a time like this. So yeah. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What's your favorite tea? Cause this is tea time and we spilling tea. We're gonna be spilling tea. What's your favorite tea? So we're gonna
Like
start
literal tea.
with it. Huh?
I said literal tea or
Literal.
my gossip type tea, you know, because I'm there for that one for real. Um, but literally, it depends on sometimes on the circumstances. Of course, everybody does a chamomile tea; those are good. A basic simple lemon and honey tea,
Hmm.
because that's the one that, if you don't have actual tea in your house, you know, you
Right.
usually have some lemon juice and some honey or something sitting around,
Yeah.
so that helps sometimes. It just depends, I will do rest wise, so tension tamers, those kind of things, because my palate has not been developed enough to really appreciate, the fine, expensive, exquisite teas. So when you're talking about a hot tea, that's going to be what it is. And of course, I'm Southern. So as a Southerner, I have to have an actual sweet tea somewhere in there, and don't give me nothing unsweet because that's not of God. He is not pleased with any of those things. So, and we got to make sure the tea actually has sugar in it and is not diabetic. We don't want a touch of sweetness to stuff. That's not even appropriate.
Oh gosh. Okay. So we want to touch on this real quick because I know we got started a little bit later than we had anticipated. However, and you got some clients coming up, so we want to make sure you properly for your clients. We don't want to affect their mental health. Okay. But real quick, wanted to get your feedback on. I was doing some research on suicide, and I know
Hmm.
you've had some personal, experiences, close friends experiences
Hmm.
who have considered that or who have threatened it, that type of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
And so, specifically, though, talking about the suicide rate amongst transgender
Hmm.
population.
Okay.
Have you had any clients that you've worked with that are considered transgender who may be experiencing that, or can it provide any guidance relative to how we can support people that are of that experience and lifestyle?
I have worked with several clients who are identified as transgendered. Um, a lot of the things that come up with the mental health aspects and suicidality when it comes to individuals in the, who are transitioning or in that community.
Mhm.
What we find, of course, is a lot of the depression and a lot of the stress that comes with just fighting the stigma, because even though this is a conversation and this is something that we talk about now, everybody is still not necessarily on board with acceptance, identifying, recognizing.
Mm,
um it's still hard. I guess it still goes back into a lot of the microaggressions, and you know um how our world is kind of set up,
mhm,
the systematic racism that has been bred into the country. And it kind of highlights and it shifts over into people and gender identity issues and how we feel. So when that happens for individuals who are transgendered, we have 82% of individuals who identify as transgendered, have considered suicide.
mhm.
So that's a high number. you know um Unfortunately, a lot of times people, because this is not you, it does not affect you directly, it's hard for you to have understanding of what's going on with the individuals who are going through these circumstances. you
Right.
know and I would, think about it. You have somebody who, one, they feel as if they are, are in the wrong body. They're in the, they identify and they feel as if they are not this particular, the sex that they're presenting as. And we're in this space where they are transitioning out, or they're trying to move in a space that they feel authentic and genuine to them. That in itself is high stress. That
Yeah.
in itself is confusion. That's not something that people take on lightly. I know now a lot of people think that it's just, oh, you know uh, any person can wake up tomorrow and they can decide to be whatever they want to be, and it's not a big thing. We still have a lot of struggles that come from that. People
Mm,
still, that's not a thing that happens easily. That's
yeah.
not a thing that people can take lightly. Even in the spaces of being able to, like, when people talk about the surgeries and everything of going through actual for real transition, it's just not like, oh, okay, we pick up today and we're going to be able to go to the doctor tomorrow and they're going to have a surgery. When individuals actually transition fully and go through a medical transition, that's a whole lot of money. You have to go through and meet with therapists, psychiatrists. You have to go through and have people work with you for extended amounts of time. People just not able to go through and do this thing like, oh, I feel like doing this today. And this is what I'm going to do. And that's how it happens. Because people really, I think, have that thought process that folks can wake up on Monday and say, okay, you know what? I don't want to be a woman no more. I think I want to be a man. And let me just go head on and start doing this. And I'm going to just take over and happen. It takes a whole lot to actually do a full, actual, for real medical transition.
Yeah.
How people carry themselves, whether they decide, I want to put on the wigs today and I want to wear lipstick and heels, okay. But when you start involving the hormone therapies and all that kind of stuff, there are medical individuals involved. You have to go through therapies. You have to go through a whole lot more stuff. So it's not a simple task. But the suicide rate is high. So that in itself, just the stresses of just people in that mindset, it's a whole lot to go more that goes into it than just what people take at face value.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yes, interesting. I was looking at this Netflix documentary series. Well, yeah, it was a series
Hmm.
documentary, and it's called "You Can Ask That." You can ask
Hmm.
that, and it had so it has these various segments and lifestyles, and I mean they covered some of everything, and
Hmm.
they had some transgenders on there, and they were talking about the changes. Some of them went full blown, and
Yeah.
then others were still identifying.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really interesting just to hear, and of course with us. doing the work that we do, we
Hmm.
listen differently. We
Yeah.
listen differently to really hear, what's being said and what's not being said. But
Hmm.
and this particular broadcast, though, they were very transparent, and
Hmm.
the people submit questions, right? So
Yeah.
random people just submit questions, and if it's a question you may have always wanted to ask, and so they
Hmm.
pull from these questions and then they answer the questions. So yeah, it was really interesting. It was really interesting, to say the least. Yeah, I binge
Yeah.
watched I binge watched sessions 1 and 2 because it was really interesting.
Yeah. And one of the things we have to also remember, especially when it comes to, well, mental health in total, um, transgender, just regular, people of color, when it comes to mental health stuff, we are always at a higher percentage of everything. Things impact us a whole lot more. So, like when it comes to transgendered people, 50% of Black transgendered people, about 50%, they reported a higher rate. So
Mm,
50% higher rate than other transgender. So if we talking about 82%
yeah.
already talking about the,
But yeah.
considering suicide.
Yeah.
And then for us, we are at a 50% higher rate than that as Black, as individuals who identify as Black transgendered. So Black and brown, everything when it comes to mental health, typically it impacts and shows up in us a whole lot higher.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So as we get ready to wrap up, so what's some tea you can spill? I know you say you here for that. So what's some tea you can spill? Some mental health tea you can spill for this Tuesday.
Well, one thing that I know has been a big highlight for us is, you know, we talked about Black men and mental health. And
Yes.
so I wanted to make sure we open up the platform to make sure individuals start to hear and understand that, there is a space of safety for Black men when it
Hmm.
comes to their mental health, and it is okay for you to seek help. Black men actually consider suicide about, I think it's like 24% higher than Black women.
Hmm.
Black men also have one of the highest suicide rates that they are in the country. It's actually grown, you know, over the past 20 years, especially young Black men. So suicide, because in our culture,
Mm-hmm.
it is very taboo to talk about suicide. It's something that we don't do, and in honesty, we do. It does happen with us a lot. We just don't talk about it. Suicide happens a lot. So that's one of the things is, 16% of Black Americans in 2021 reported having mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we don't make up that much of the population. And then for 16% of us reporting that we are having mental health, situations. And then you think about, the amount of young Black men out here who are coming out and who are in need, and they're not finding the support because the idea that Black men are supposed to just to be strong, and the systemic racism that impacts all of our lives comes shows up still in mental health when it comes to Black men, because they are more likely to be identified or misdiagnosed
Mm-hmm.
with uh, mental health issues and diagnoses that are way bigger, way more severe than it is for them to be like identified with like a mood disorder. So people see the things and the behaviors as being some things that are a whole lot more, aggressive in nature, versus it being related to a depression or anxiety. So those things that come about and happen. So it's important that we offer safe space. And for Black men to know that, you do not have to fight alone, and it is okay for you to have feelings. And we teach, unfortunately, the strength of a person, and that you can just handle those things. And we put up to situations where individuals get mixed messages.
Okay.
Women say that we want the soft man. We want the man who's caring and compassionate. And then we turn around when we get him, you're too soft. You're not manly enough. It's the good guys always come in last kind of thing. So that sends a mixed message. So you have a lot of people who are, well, you tell me I can, but then when I open up to you, you use that against me. So my biggest thing is for us, especially, as a society, as a culture, is
Mhm.
to be aware. We have to keep it, we have to make it safe. We have to actually, if we say we want something, we have to actually, be willing to do the work that it takes, to be able to have it. So to put this push on to make our men stronger and available for us and available to our community and everything else, we got to also reconsider, what we have been taught to believe makes a man a man.
Yeah. 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 Well, all right. Well, all right, all right, all right. So, thank you so much, Pashanda. And let me put so on Tuesdays. Let's see, on Tuesdays we have the second Tuesday of every month. Second Tuesday of every month, we have our tea time, spilling the tea with Miss Pashanda Pugh, Pashanda Hills. And then on Wednesdays, it'll be the fourth Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the month, we will have mental wealth Wednesday. Mental
Mhm.
health wealth Wednesdays. All right. So we're gonna be dealing with the monies and our financial mental health. All right, because of course that can cause a lot of interesting thought processes and patterns as well. Let me say
Yes.
it that way. So, any closing words before we end, Pashanda?
Just to make sure everybody takes time to take care of yourself. Take time to, pour into you and to make sure that, you realize that you are the most important commodity that you have. And it is okay for you to not be okay. It is okay for you to seek help and, take care of you first.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So, let me see, where am I? Okay. Here we go. All right. So that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, whether you're watching live or to the replay. Please go and follow at Pashanda Hills on Facebook, Pashanda.Hills on TikTok, Pashanda Hills on IG, and Pashanda Hills LinkedIn. So again, we can help her get her following up. And of course, as you see, she is definitely someone that you want to be in contact with. And so she is open and taking appointments. We're doing complimentary discovery sessions, 15 minutes. So we will be dropping the contact or the lead form for you to be able to fill out, to be able to vet her out and see if she is your therapist that can be able to support you to expand your mental health and your life. So, with that being said, I am Miss Felicia Muhammad. Thank you so much for being a part of our Oneness Wellness, Power of Oneness Wellness Lifestyle family and collaborator and friend. So, we definitely love you and appreciate you. And until next time, everyone, aloha. We will see you then.
Bye
Peace.
bye.